Running never did much good. Hiding doesn't last forever. You can't run faster when it's you you're running from. So you throw your hands up like doves to the setting sun. Somewhere, John, the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil. You'll find the mysteries enthralling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years. 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.
Welcome to Karen Holton's podcast. Karen permanently lost 178 pounds and found happiness and success by following her own advice. She has now developed that advice into the quantum health transformation. Heal, evolve, and thrive. Karen's website offers a free webinar workshop series, and you'll also find tools, methods, and practices to assist you to become the change you want to see in the world. She believes that we are all connected. Heal the planet by healing yourself. Connect with Karen at her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and through Facebook at Facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Now for the podcast.
Welcome back to Quantum Health Transformation, Step 2. I'm Karen Holton. I have a bachelor degree in social work and a diploma in women's studies, and I am completing the 9 steps to Quantum Health Transformation. We're on Step 2 today, integration with higher selves. If you haven't already done so, please go to my website or find my videos on YouTube or Facebook. I have a Facebook page now called Quantum Health Transformation, where I am posting information that I produced myself and also information produced by other sources that sort of reinforce the same messages. And I hope you can join me for that. So again, Step 2, Violet, integration with higher selves. If you haven't already done so, please go back and watch the primer. The primer has the details and the notes, and it's laid out for you according to more head knowledge. And this video accompanies it, and I'm going to talk about my own experiences with my higher selves to give you an idea of what that might look like or what use that might be in your life. I've made a few notes because it's quite a bit of information. I'm hoping to motor through it without too much dilly-dallying, as I know I'd like to keep these videos as short as possible, but it's really a lot of information, so I'll just get on with it. So I want to talk first of all about ways that I personally experience my higher selves. Everybody's different. Just like we like different foods and we have different habits, we all have different ways of accessing our higher information, also known as the subconscious mind, which holds vast, vast stores of data from several sources. Again, refer to the primer for details on this. So how do I experience my higher selves? Well, first of all is I have what they call lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming is while I'm completely awake, and it can happen to me without any warning, not that I need a warning, but generally it happens when I'm sitting at home having a cup of tea, or could be while I'm watching a show. Generally, though, it doesn't happen while I'm out and around other people. Generally, I'm alone. And these visions take many, many different forms. I don't know how long I'm in the vision state. Sometimes it happens quick, like in the flash of an eye, and no time has passed at all, regardless of the length of the vision. Other times I will definitely miss time. The most I think I've ever lost is an hour, perhaps a little bit more, depending on the detail and the amount of information that I'm experiencing during my lucid dream. Some of the lucid dreaming involves future events. It may be something that's been on my mind or something that I have learned about, something that's going on in the social construct, social, economic, political construct. And I may be concerned about where certain events are leading us. And in that case, generally I will see more than one future outcome. And I'm also aware that just because I'm seeing future outcomes, I'm aware that I'm seeing possibilities. I'm not seeing a hard fact on how I'm going to experience or how others might experience the future of the planet. It's just possibilities. And that doesn't mean that they're inevitable or that we have no choice in doing our part to help make the outcomes different, okay? Another common experience for me is to go back into my past. And I'll give you one example. I was blessed with two fathers, a birth father and then a stepfather. My stepfather came into my life when I was 4 years old, and he had an odd habit of spying on us or watching us, and unfortunately it didn't have a very helpful effect on me and my life, but be that as it may, obviously things happen for a reason. So in particular, one of my lucid dreams, I actually went back, and it was as though I was observing in the room without being my father and without being me. Just my awareness was there. And I saw myself playing. So I was sitting on the floor, I was playing with my dolls, and I was just caught up in my own imagination. And I also saw my father. He would peek. He thought we couldn't see him. He would peek where only one eye was visible. Generally, we wouldn't know he was spying on us until we would hear one of his knees creak, and then we would know he was there. So it happened quite frequently, and I never knew really what that was about. So in one of my lucid dreams, I went back to that time, and I saw it happening. Then I experienced it from my perspective as a child playing, and the feelings that came up around before I realized he was there, and during realizing that he was there, and then how I felt afterwards, which was actually kind of creepy. And then I saw it from my father's perspective, which may or may not have been his true perspective, and it may or may not have been what he was conscious of at the time, but I saw it from his perspective. And I was able to get a better understanding on why those events happened. He was basically fascinated with me. I can't say so for my siblings, but he was quite fascinated with me. And later I have come to accept that that is not necessarily a bad thing. And so basically lucid dreaming for me means having visions. It's not just daydreaming. It generally has purpose and intention, and it leaves me coming away from the experience better equipped to deal with my life and to sort myself out. The second way that I access my higher selves is through dreams during my sleep. And some dreams are just kind of chaotic and don't make a lot of sense, and I may or may not even remember them. That's not really what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is visions I have while I'm sleeping. And I actually go to different places in time and space and have some amazing adventures. I'm going to make a separate, either a podcast or a video, giving you some of my adventures, but let me just loosely outline the ones I was having last fall, where every night after I went to sleep, I went on an adventure that had a common theme. And the theme was I was taking part in a resettlement program that was going on different planets. And it involved my, for lack of a better word, induction to the group that I was working with, going to seminars and getting training on generally space stations, which were amazingly huge, just huge. And even, and then maybe 2 or 3 different planets that I'm very sure were different planets. And the reason I say that is because the location, like for instance, 3 moons, we don't have 3 moons. Food that clearly was not grown on Earth, nothing I had ever seen like it on Earth. and of course different biospheres on the planets. And I'll get more into that later on a separate video or podcast, but it was fascinating, the work that I was doing. And basically, before planets that don't have humanoid type creatures on it are generally, they've got plants, they've got all the vegetation, they've got water, they've got atmosphere, and they've got insects, they've got animals, they've got aquatic life, they've got pretty much everything we have except no people. At least as far as I understood that to be part of the project. And what we would do is go onto a planet, and we would find out not just the specifics on whether or not it could sustain life, because obviously we were there, but more how to settle humanoid type creatures to the planet without upsetting the ecosystems. So it was very important work, it was very involved, and this went on for 3 or 4 months. Some days I would wake up in the morning exhausted because I'd been working all night, and I can't explain exactly how this happened. I don't know whether it's the future, the past, or in another dimensional reality, because I'm quite sure I'm at home sleeping in my own bed when this happens, yet the adventures were amazing and very, very true for me. Another way that I experience my higher selves is through spontaneous knowledge. Now, this isn't just strong intuition, which is one way that I have spontaneous knowledge. For instance, when I was at different points in my recovery, I would just feel the intuition to go into a specific health food store, and then I would be drawn to a specific shelf and a specific bottle on with specific packaging, and I just knew I needed to buy this and take it home. And I'd buy it and take it home, and then I'd Google it to find out what it was, because I didn't really know before this would happen. And lo and behold, every single time it was what I needed, and it helped me with my recovery. Another way that I get spontaneous knowledge is if I have a question. If something's bothering, why is this happening in the world this way? Or why is that happening? It seems so unfair, so unjust. What happens to me is just spontaneously instant knowing the answer to my questions, and being able to then think about the information and come to a much more settled place within myself. So another way that I experience my spontaneous knowledge is through channeling. And generally when I realize I'm being used as a channel, I go for a pen and pad, which I've got all over the house, or I just sit down at the keyboard and start typing. And that is basically how I was able to get the information to create the 9 steps, was by being a channel and asking for a program. And actually this program is for myself, but I don't feel I'm special or really that unique, that this program wouldn't help everybody. And the experiences and benefits I've had from this 9-step program, I'm pretty sure are going to help those of you who are interested in trying it on their journey. Try pieces of it, try all of it, it's up to you. And then, of course, specific training. I get spontaneous knowledge by way of specific training. So if I want to improve my flexibility, or if I want to improve my eyesight, or something else, or how to interact with somebody that I feel I'm having some stress interacting with, then the training just comes, and I can't explain it. Sometimes it sort of unfolds. We'll get into that in the next one. Okay, so another way that I experience my higher selves is through receiving life lesson packets. And this is very, very interesting, because I basically go into a meditative state and I request knowledge and learning on a specific topic, or it could be anything. Sometimes, though, it happens without me asking, and in a quiet moment where generally I'm outside and I'm relaxed and I'm enjoying my environment, as far as, enjoying the plants and the trees and the little bugs that are doing their thing, and perhaps my kitty cat walking by, that sort of very relaxed atmosphere. And what happens is I get a sense that I don't really have language for a lot of this, so bear with. I have the sense that something's been planted in my brain, just dropped into my brain, and it sort of unfolds. The geometric symbol that sort of comes to mind is something like a triangle or a pyramid. It has 3 corners, and it's dropped into my mind, and I then have a vision that is like an overlay over what I'm seeing with my human and accepted senses. So as I go about my ordinary life, go shopping, take a shower, make dinner, doesn't matter what, there is like an overlay that unfolds over the next few days, weeks, even months. And in it, I'm able to see things quite differently. I'm seeing them from a perspective that as a human being on this planet, I've never been able to see before. And so all that extra knowledge and information helps me to see my reality differently and in much broader context. And I always benefit from it. Always. And this again overlaps with tutoring. So I'll be given specific instructions, lessons. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. Another way that I experience my higher selves is I have near future awareness and sensation. So I don't want to get into details, but there was an event that happened within my family, and the night before it happened, I had vivid dreams of it. So the next day I was able to take precautions to be more aware, more alert, and to be on the watch for this thing that I imagined in my dreams or in my sleep. And what happened was I was able to do a huge harm reduction. So I was actually able to shift things around and make them different so that the harm that I had seen ahead of time was greatly reduced and in fact minimal. And I don't know what else to say about that except that's how it happens for me. I also have sensations, and I'll give you an example. I was out with some friends and I was a few miles away from my house, and all of a sudden I could smell curry. And for those of you that are familiar with curry is a very blanket term for different blends of spices. Well, this was a specific blend. It was very specific. It was so delicious it made my mouth water, and nobody else could smell it. Well, a couple of hours later, I came home, and as I was coming up the stairs, my neighbor, I could smell the wonderful smells from her kitchen, and here it was the exact same smell that I had already experienced. Now, in that particular case, it didn't harm me or benefit me. It was kind of a neutral experience, but it was just interesting and kind of neat that it happened at all. And so these events can happen in so many different ways. Let's see, sorry, I have to check my notes because I have a lot of information. Okay, did that. So sometimes I know it's going to happen soon. I know the direction that events are going to take. So that one's really common for me, where I have, just maybe 10 minutes before something is going to happen. And it can be benign, it can be harmful, it can be interesting, it can be all kinds of different things. But I just know. It's not that I actually visually or in my mind's eye see it unfolding. I just know exactly how it's going to go. And again, I think the advantage to that is helping me to be prepared whether I want to step this way or step that way, or do something a little different to experience that event in time for it to actually happen, which benefits me in the long run. Okay, another way that I experience my higher selves is through coincidences, finding myself in the right place at the right time. Another example of that is just there's something I want to go do and I don't do it. And I have to sort of wait till the time feels right. And when it feels right, I go out and do it, and then I'm in the right place at the right time. And wow, has it opened doors for me, I should say. It has really opened doors for me and just led to the most, again, amazing adventure that we call life. Okay, the other way that I experience my higher selves is I'm able to see my life through the eyes of an observer. So I will be doing a particular behavior that perhaps has been fairly unconscious throughout my life, which maybe has not been in my best interest. Well, suddenly I can see it from an observer position. And from an observer position doesn't mean from out there or out there. It's still me. But I'm able to look at what's going on very clearly and objectively without any judgment. And that's different than having a critical voice. Sometimes what I notice is actually shocking to my conscious mind. Annoying habits I've had all my life completely unconscious of, and suddenly I see them for exactly what they are. And then I just have to go, whoa, I don't want to do that anymore. How could I do it different? Really, really has helped me so much. It's also given me, looking through the eyes of the observers, also given me the ability to banish critical and negative voices. My mind used to be like being inside a busy shopping mall at Christmas time. It was nuts. There was just so much going on in there that I couldn't relax and receive the healthful messages from my higher self. Well, through using the observer mode, slowly, I've been quietening simply by finding a voice thread or a particular way of thinking that I was not necessarily conscious of but had been holding me back, seeing it for what it is and just saying, be gone. This is my realm. I've got a sphere. If I stand up tall, I have a sphere that actually is a circle. It's not a circle, it's a sphere. It's a round object, three-dimensional object that surrounds my body. And it's if I have my arms out sideways, like the Leonardo da Vinci picture where the man has his arms out and his legs out and he's inside a circle. The circle's a little bit bigger than me, so it extends beyond my fingertips and below my feet above my head. In that sphere is my domain. I can banish anything I want. And welcome anything I want within my domain. And so I found out that I could banish these critical voices and negative messages. And one by one, as I've quietened them over the years, sometimes, wow, inside my head is like being at the same shopping mall, but there's nobody there but me. And I can wander around through the stores and look at things. I'm speaking in metaphor now. My mind isn't really like a shopping mall. I'm just using this as an analogy so that I can take a look at aspects of my life, ways I've thought about things, opinions I have, ways of seeing myself, and just very clearly and quietly observe what's going on. And then changes just happen sort of automatically. So that's some of my more common experiences from being in touch with my higher self. And I believe these experiences are available for you too. What does it require? It doesn't require any element of specialness, not at all, not at all. What it requires is time alone for self-reflection, an honest intention to want to do self-reflection in order to be a better person and to carry gifts into this world and to be a blessing to the planet, the people, the animals, the plants. That kind of a heartfelt intention goes a long way in helping to connect and bring in the higher selves, who I find I give an inch of effort and they bring in the rest. It's just amazing. Another thing that you need is to practice the ability to stop conscious thought. We're making up stories all the time. Everything I do, I've got a little story on why it is and how it's happening. I need to stop that. And when I stop that, that's when my higher selves and myself are able to connect, and I'm able to make best use of having them and having this gift in my life. Now, I also want to say that I've tried showing off with these a few times, and you can really, if it's authentic, you can't really use it for a party game or a way to boost your ego. It just doesn't work. I've tried a few times and it just doesn't work, and then I look completely foolish. This phenomenon has an energy, a flow all its own. And I just welcome it and use it to the best of my intentions and am grateful for it when it happens. But it's not really something I can just plan. Although after saying that, when I'm alone, I can actually create space where it will happen. And it's really fun, actually. The third requirement would be to allow yourself to become self-centered, putting yourself and whatever that means to you right at the center. Now people go, oh, well, we can't do that because, you know, we have to care about people around us and we have to function. And, oh, we can't do that because that would be wrong. We would be narcissistic, or narcissistic personality disorder could come of it. Well, I'm not talking about self-love, that I think I'm the greatest thing in the world and that I don't need correction or learning. This is very different. This is being self-centered with the specific intention of being a better person. And so I would say those are the three requirements. Time alone for self-reflection, honest self-reflection. And sometimes it gets down and dirty, and the stuff you see in yourself, the stuff I see in myself, is shocking. Second thing is being able to stop conscious thought and refuse to make up a story so that I am available to be filled with the spontaneous knowledge or expanded awareness. And the third thing, again, is to allow myself to be self-centered. So with that being said, what are the benefits of practicing this lifestyle? I'll tell you what it's done for me. It's improved my mental and my physical health beyond my expectations, so that my worst days now, and yes, I still get some, are actually better than my best days used to be. I rarely feel alone or lonely. Just almost never happens. It's replaced with peace and contentment and fuzzy warm feelings. I have improved relationships, especially with family. Now, I've often heard it said that the most difficult work we do is within our immediate family, and I would agree with that. But that is where I have used my gifts specifically. And there was a time where I was actually had such a poor relationship with other members of my family, especially my siblings and parents, that I just wanted to cut them off completely and have nothing to do with them. But over time, what's happened is those relationships have changed. Now, they haven't become different people. They still do the kind of things they've always done. But the way I perceive them is very, very different. I have a compassion and an understanding and awareness now that although it saddens me at times to see their lives, I know that indeed it's none of my business, that it's their journey, and it's not for me to criticize or judge. But also, I can just lovingly accept them. I can pray for them. I can wish good things for them. And I can still be centered and have an awesome life. Yeah, I definitely feel supported, whether I have another human being to talk to or not. I rarely go to another human being with my problems. I don't need to vent to other people. I know what it feels like when other people vent to me. I'm a very sensitive person, and it can leave me feeling pretty dragged out and deflated. And I don't want to do that to other people. So I take it to my spirit guides. And boy, do I feel supported. I feel like I have a real diverse community. I call my collective community Gabriel because I don't exactly know whether they are just part of my subconscious, whether they are beings from another planet that are communicating with me, whether they are angels, whether they are Christ Jesus, whether they are Buddha. I don't know exactly, but I have my suspicions at times because I do feel the energy and the training is different, as though it comes from different sources. And so I just say, hey, bring it on. I need all the help I can get, and thank you, thank you, thank you. I think the most important, or I shouldn't say most important, it's all important, but one thing that I really want to emphasize is how it's benefited me is I worry less. I worry less, and so I'm not caught up in hamster wheels going round and round and round anymore. Instead, I've got some clarity of thought so I can think about my life and really start to sort out what I want. Where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to spend time with? How do I want to live? All those kind of things that, are changing all the time, because I get what I ask for, and then when I get it, I go, oh, I didn't really realize it would feel like this. And then I go, okay, next time I ask for this, I need to include more information and give it more thought and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's really interesting. Another thing that's happened, as if by magic, or maybe it is magic, I don't know, is that people I meet, whether I'm going to the bank, whether I'm going shopping, whether I'm going to go hang out, it doesn't matter. People generally are very kind to me. They're polite to me, they treat me well, they're friendly. I used to have a lot of negative experiences when I would go out, and I didn't like going out because I couldn't handle the people. The more I learned about people, and the more I was around people, the more I liked my cat. But things have shifted, especially in the last year, and pretty much I can't think of a single occurrence where someone was nasty to me or insulting or rude. It just doesn't happen. And so my quality of life has really, really improved. And then the other thing I want to say about having access to my higher selves is it's given me this wonderful program. And every step of the way, it has given me the information I needed to do the changes I needed to make in my life, or I should say adjustments, really. Every step in here that I talk about and that I present in primer form is all based on my own experience, and as I'm producing the information, I'm sort of tweaking and adjusting my own lifestyle and the way I think, and it's really, really working for me. So I encourage you to give it a shot. We've got one more step to go. I know I'm kind of quirky. We started at the bottom and we're working our way up 9, 8, 7, 6, because I felt the food aspect was really, really, really important for me to get to these higher experiences. Down at the bottom, number 9, black, introduction to nubby ball and light dark integration. Well, until I was ready to start seeing the whole me, I wasn't able to progress, and that's why I started at number 9 and worked my way up to number 1. So the next step is state of bliss and spiritual exercises, and they're not hard. They're just, some people go, oh, work on the things that you can take with you when you pass on to the next reality. Don't collect things that can get rusted and eaten by moths. Well, that's true. But then a lot of people are left going, well, what can I take with me? There's lots you can take with you. And that is what I'm going to go into in step 1, white. So that's about it for today. Please drop me some comments. Feel free to write to me. You can contact me through my website. Oops, my website. You might be watching this video on YouTube. You might be watching this video off Facebook. And that is why I draw your attention to the website. www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. I've got blog entries, I've got my transformation videos can be found there, services, products. The other thing that I sell it's called Zendone's Orgonite, and they're orgone generators. And I have a few left still for sale. And they're really neat little devices. So if you want to know more about the Zendones, go and watch step 6. Step 6? I get confused sometimes. Everything overlaps with everything else. Anyway, please enjoy, and let me know what you think about it. Good health to you. I wish you the best day ever, and I sincerely mean it. I want you also to take some of my love. Love is something that transcends all thought and belief. And even though I'm sitting here in front of a camera, and soon this will be on YouTube and Facebook, doesn't mean that you can't receive the love I'm sending. Open up your heart and receive it. I love you, and I can feel that you're worthwhile and that you've got tremendous value to this planet. And even when you can't believe in yourself, I'm believing in you. Keep up the good work. You're awesome.
Denying only makes you hurt. Denying only makes it worse. Love and surrender seem the fastest way to bring an end to bitter, painful days. Somewhere down the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil, and you will thrill to hear your calling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years, 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.